You throw away what Grandma still repaired and waste money, time, and nerves every day. These 45 forgotten household hacks still work today, but almost no one knows them anymore. Subscribe now for more genius hacks that save money and really work. Have fun with the forgotten household hacks. Clean oven glass with ash. When the oven glass had become blind from roasting, Grandma got a cloth and some fine wood ash from the oven. She moistened the cloth, sprinkled a little ash on it, and rubbed the glass with calm, circular movements. The dirt dissolved, the glass became clear again. Ash acted like a natural polisher, gentle but thorough. Afterward, she wiped once with clear water. Done. Simple, effective, quiet. That's how it was done back then. And sometimes you wonder why we don't do it that way again. Polish stainless steel sink with flour. Grandma had a hack that competes with every expensive stainless steel polish. After washing up, she dried the sink carefully, reached for the flour canister, and sprinkled a small handful in. With a dry cloth, she rubbed the flour in circularly. The sink began to shine, not loud, but quiet. No streaks or spots, just this fine, rich shimmer that you almost could have overlooked. Flour absorbs last residues, smooths the surface, and brings the old sink to shine. So simple, so clever, so forgotten. Onion half for grill grate. After grilling, when the grate was still warm and smelled of meat, Grandma didn't take a wire brush. She cut an onion through, speared it on the fork, and rubbed it over the bars. The heat enticed the essential oils out. The juice dissolved fat and burnt residues, all without scratching. The onion not only cleaned, it disinfected too. And while others scrubbed, Grandma was already done and still smelled of smoke and charcoal. A hack from grilling time that works to this day, invisible but thorough. Orange juice against lime scale in the kettle. Grandma didn't take Descalaire, she took what was on the table anyway, a good dash of orange juice boiled with some water in the empty kettle, then let rest briefly. The fine fruit acids dissolved the lime scale, all without biting smell. When the lid opened, it smelled of breakfast and not of cleaning agent. Afterward, rinse twice with clear water. Done. The kettle shone, the tea tasted clear again. Sometimes the solution is where we don't look for it at all. In the fruit bowl, next to the cup, oats against refrigerator smell. In the refrigerator, it often smelled of cheese, onions, and leftover soup. But Grandma had her quiet solution. A flat bowl with oats stood all the way back in the compartment. It said nothing, but acted. The flakes drew moisture from the air and stopped every smell before it could set in. Every few weeks, she changed the bowl, almost like a small ritual. Today, there are chemistry bags with names no one understands. Back then, there was simply oats. Mustard seeds for thermos bottle cleaning. When the thermos bottle smelled of tea and brown streaks stuck inside, Grandma didn't get a brush. She took mustard seeds. 1, 2 spoons into the bottle. Warm water on top. Lid on. And then it was shaken. The rattling sounded like a rattle from the pantry. The small seeds struck against the walls, dissolved residues, cleaned into the corners, all without scratches, without soap. Afterward, rinse once, done. The result was clean, odor-free, everyday usable. And whoever tries it understands immediately why this hack is so clever. Butter against water spots on stainless steel. When the faucet was dull and the sink full of spots, Grandma didn't reach for the cleaner. She took butter, a small piece, directly on a cloth, then with a calm hand over the cold metal. The fat dissolved the lime scale edges, left a fine gloss film that acted like fresh polish. Afterward, dry rub once, and everything shone like new. The surface not only became clean, but protected. It was no hack, it was craftsmanship. From the kitchen, from the time when housework still had quiet elegance. Sugar water against fruit flies. When the fruit flies came in summer, Grandma was prepared. A glass, a bit of lukewarm water, a spoon of sugar, a drop of dish soap. That's all it took. The mixture attracted them like ripe fruit at the market. They landed, slipped off, stayed in it. Quiet, effective, without poison. The trap often stood in the kitchen corner, almost invisible, but always effective. After a few days, it was changed. The house remained quiet. The scent remained pure. And we children marveled at how simple that actually was. Potato peels for cleaning pots. During cooking, the potato peels didn't just fall into the trash. Grandma laid them aside, rinsed the burnt pot, and then reached for the peel. With the moist inside, she rubbed over the bottom, sometimes with a bit of salt. The sound was quiet, smelled of earth and clear water. Afterward, a short rinse. Done. The pot shone. The supper tasted good again. Today, it is considered waste. Back then, it was tool. And honestly, it works to this day. Coffee grounds as scouring agent. After breakfast, the pot was empty. The coffee grounds clumped warm in the filter. Grandma didn't throw it away. She dried it, sprinkled it on a damp cloth, and rubbed over pots, sink, and baking sheet with it. The fine grains dissolved, even firm residues, all without scratches. The surface became clean. The scent remained familiar. Afterward, the coffee grounds went into the garden. Nothing was wasted. Everything had its place. Today we buy scouring milk. Back then, one simply drank coffee and cleaned up with it. Beer against wine spots. When the red wine tipped over, Grandma didn't panic but reached for beer. A sip directly on the spot, a cloth to dab, and the damage was half as bad. The beer drew the colorant out of the fabric, gentle and effective. The carbonation helped to dissolve the tannins in the wine. Afterward, some water, later the laundry. The spot was gone, the evening saved. Today, one would Google. Back then, one simply opened a second bottle, but the right one, and solved the problem in passing. Salt bath for new, colorful clothing. Before a new shirt went into the washing machine, there was always the salt bath at Grandma's first. Cold water, a good handful of salt, a good stir, then the garment in. The colors stayed where they belonged. The salt pulled them firmly into the fiber, like a silent guardian against bleeding. So red tones shone longer. The blue remained saturated. Soak, wring out, wash. That's all it took. And while other socks discolored, everything lay clear on the line at her place, as if it had never worked otherwise. Glycerin against grass spots. After playing, the pants were green, the knees full of summer. Grandma saw the spot and got glycerin from the bathroom cabinet. A drop on the fabric, the inside rubbed in, then let sit well. The spot dissolved by itself. Afterward, the pants in the laundry. The fabric remained soft, the color preserved. Grass belongs on the meadow, not in the fabric. And Grandma knew exactly how to get it out there. Aluminum foil against static charge in the dryer. When the laundry came from the dryer and sparked when unfolding, Grandma already had a solution. She loosely crumpled a piece of aluminum foil into a ball, threw it to the damp laundry. Done. The foil caught the crackling, discharged the tension, all without fragrances or additives. Synthetics remained smooth, socks no longer stuck together, and the ball often lasted weeks, a hack from the kitchen drawer that works quietly. Today, it is called anti-static. Back then, it was called simple practical, and with a rest from what was anyway there. Nettle tea as natural fabric softener. In Grandma's garden, the nettles didn't grow as punishment, but for laundry care. She dried them, brewed a decoction from them, and poured it into the fabric softener compartment. The fibers became soft, all without perfume, without residues. The scent was discreet, almost forest-like. The effect astonishing. Especially children's clothing felt pleasantly smooth afterward. No itching or film on the skin. Only fresh, clear laundry, like back then on the line, when the wind blew through the grass and everything seemed so simple and so clever. Talcum powder against oil spots. A grease spot on the blouse didn't make Grandma sweat. She took talcum powder, sprinkled it on the fresh spot, and let it lie. Hours long. The powder drew the fat from the fabric, without rubbing, without haste. Afterward, the blouse was shaken out and washed. The spot was gone, the fabric unharmed. In the bathroom cabinet, a glass of it always stood, ready, quiet, and reliable, like much back then. Black tea against skin irritations. When the skin tightened or itched, no serum stood on Grandma's wash basin, but a cup with black tea. She let the bag steep, laid it aside, and waited until it was cool. Then it went directly on the irritated spot. The tannins calmed, contracted, alleviated redness and heat. Whether after shaving or sunburn, the effect was noticeable, simple, fast, from the stock. And with the what enlivened us could also help externally. Lavender flowers in cotton bags against moths. In the wardrobe, it never smelled of chemistry at Grandma's, but of lavender. She dried the flowers, put them in small fabric bags, tied them up and placed them between the laundry. The scent kept moths away. Lavender overlaid what attracted moths and protected the fibers at the same time. The flowers lasted weeks. Sometimes she rubbed them between her fingers to refresh the scent. It was simple, effective, beautiful, and with a rest from summer that remained even on gray days, ice cubes against gum on clothing. When we as children fell asleep with gum in our pants pocket, Grandma knew exactly what to do. She got an ice cube from the compartment, laid it on the sticky spot, and waited quietly. The mass became hard, could be lifted off like wax. Sometimes she took a spoon and levered carefully. At the end, the fabric remained intact, the gum was gone, and we were impressed by the method and by her patience. Hairspray fixes threads at the hem. A thread at the hem was enough, and Grandma became the improvisation artist. The scissors stayed in the drawer. Instead, she reached for the hairspray. A spray on the loose spot, a short pressure with the finger, and the thread stayed where it should. The spray formed a fine film, hardly visible, but reliable. For her, that was no emergency solution, but an elegant interim solution. The blouse could be worn further, the skirt remained in shape, and the small drama at the fabric was quietly diffused, with a hand movement from everyday life. Mouthwash for toilet cleaning. Grandma had for everything a second use. Even the mouthwash sometimes landed not in the sink, but in the toilet. Half a glass directly into the bowl, distributed with calm hand along the rim. There it stood, acted without haste. The alcohol dissolved deposits. The scent took the room, not obtrusive, but clear. Later the brush came, a short swing, and everything was clean, fresh, without fragrance. So became from a rinse a quiet household moment, unobtrusive but effective. Toothpaste for cleaning light switches yellow quietly. They are pressed daily, collect fingerprints, dust, and time. Grandma took a soft cloth, moist made, and a dab of toothpaste. No gel, only the simple white from the tube. With that she rubbed the plastic off, quite lightly, with small circles. The fine abrasive smoothed the surface. The dirt disappeared. Afterward once with clear water after wipe, dry polish. The switch looked like freshly mounted. A simple hand movement that visibly brought back what was earlier self-evident. One cared for what one had, down to the smallest corner. Prevent mirror fog with shaving foam. After bathing, Grandma's mirror was never fogged. She had a hack that didn't need much. A dab of shaving foam on a cloth, gently distributed, let act briefly, then thoroughly polished out. An invisible layer remained, which held the steam away. The mirror remained clear, even if the whole bath smelled of soap. She did that regularly, with calm hand, and whoever has tried that once understands immediately why some things work quietly. Simple, reliable, since decades proven, and yet almost forgotten. Black coffee against dark circles under the eyes. When the morning was heavy in the eyes, coffee helped Grandma not only from inside. She soaked 2 cotton pads in the cold brew, laid them under the eyes, and let the rest happen quietly. The caffeine acted, pulled back the swelling, enlivened the skin. The dark shadows became paler, the gaze more awake. It was an old hack that did its work quietly before the mirror. And that showed that some things that enliven us can also help externally. From the time when one still knew such things, lemon slices in the toilet bowl. Grandma cut a lemon into thin slices and laid them quietly in the toilet bowl. Overnight, the slices dissolved lime scale and odor. The morning smelled of freshness instead of cleaner. The acid acted thoroughly, all without rubbing. Sometimes a dash of vinegar came along if it was necessary. The scent remained discreet, the effect reliable, and with what was discreet there. Baking powder in the drain against odors. When it smelled from the drain, Grandma didn't stand with the chemistry bottle. She reached for baking powder. 2 spoons into the pipe, a good dash of vinegar after, and it started to rush and bubble. The reaction dissolved fat, soap, and what else set in down there? After a short pause came hot water. The smell disappeared, the drain ran free, and all with what was anyway in the cupboard: mouthwash for toilet cleaning. Grandma had for everything a second use. Even the mouthwash sometimes landed not in the sink, but in the toilet. Half a glass directly into the bowl, distributed with calm hand along the rim. There it stood, acted without haste. The alcohol dissolved deposits. The scent took the room, not obtrusive, but clear. Later, the brush came, a short swing, and everything was clean, fresh, without fragrance. So became from a rinse a quiet household moment, unobtrusive but effective. Nail polish against rust spots on razor holder. Back then in the bath, when the razor holder left small red edges on the sink, one didn't reach for special agents. Grandma took transparent nail polish, a dab on the feet of the metal holder, carefully distributed, let dry once, and the problem was solved. The moisture no longer came through. The metal remained blank, the surface clean. Just as well, the polish acted on soap dishes and shower baskets. Quiet, unobtrusive, but effective. A small brush stroke with great effect, which many have almost forgotten. Today, almost a secret tip. Toothbrush for grout cleaning with baking soda paste. When dirt set in the grouts, Grandma got no chemistry but her old toothbrush. She stirred a paste from baking soda and water, thick like cake glaze. With that, she worked the mixture into the crevices, patient, concentrated. A few minutes she let it act, then rinsed with warm water. The grouts became brighter. The room smelled clean, without fragrances. A simple hand movement from the time when one knew such things. Baby oil against limescale spots on faucet. When the faucet looked dull, no cleaner stood on Grandma's sink. She took a soft cloth, drizzled some baby oil on it, and rubbed the fixture with it, quiet, with consideration. The metal shone immediately again, as if it had caught new breath. And more, the oil formed a wafer-thin layer, which let water purl off. Limescale had it hard to set in. Polish once, days of peace. So became from a hand movement a small lead in everyday life. Quiet, effective, like so much from her time. Dishwater for balcony plants. Dishwater for balcony plants. When it was clear enough, it went to the balcony plants. Lukewarm, hardly soap, without foam. The earth soaked it up, the herbs thrived. So nothing was wasted. Every drop counted. Simple means cleverly used, quite self-evident, like one lived, with eyes for what still was good. Cigarette ash against aphids. On the balcony between geraniums and beans, Grandma had a quiet countermeasure. She sprinkled finely ground cigarette ash on the leaves, quite carefully, almost reverently. The fine dust remained stuck. The aphids disappeared. Sometimes she stirred a brew from it, let it steep like tea, and sprayed it targeted on infested shoots. A solution that seems strange to us today was a hand movement for her. Simple, effective, unobtrusive, and with a rest from what was anyway there. Egg water for fertilizing. When eggs were cooked, Grandma saved the water. It wandered not into the drain, but into the watering can. Cooled, clear, full of power. The minerals from the shell remained in the water and strengthened later the plants. Especially the calcium helped to strengthen roots and preserve the leaf green. Tomatoes liked it, also parsley and geraniums. A rest from midday quietly transformed into plant happiness. So became from the simple something useful. One saw it not, but the plants knew it to appreciate. Milk against powdery mildew. When a white coating showed on the leaves, Grandma didn't go to the store right away. She mixed milk with water, shook the bottle, and sprayed her roses early in the morning. The milk formed a thin film, almost invisible, but it acted. The leaves breathed again, the fungus withdrew. Milk acted gently, but noticeable, and incidentally, even small flies kept away. So became from the spice for apple compote a quiet helper in the flower pot. Unobtrusive, but highly effective. Banana peel in the bed against snails. Grandma laid in the evening a piece of banana peel in the bed, the inside down. The next morning, the snails lay exactly there, as agreed. The sweet scent attracted them, kept them away from lettuce and beans. Then she collected them, calm, almost casual. Nature liked such solutions. Quiet, effective, and thoughtful, so became a waste piece to the secret weapon in the garden, with a wink and much house sense. Cinnamon on soil against mold. When this fine, white coating formed on the pot soil, Grandma didn't reach for spray. She took cinnamon, quite simply, from the kitchen. A pinch sprinkled on the soil, and the mold withdrew. The scent was pleasant, the result visible. The soil remained loose, the seedlings strong. Cinnamon acted gently but noticeably, and incidentally even small flies kept away, so became from the spice for apple compote a quiet helper in the flower pot. Unobtrusive, but highly effective, exactly like she. Clip as nail holder. Grandpa had a hack when nailing that he never explained greatly. Instead of risking the fingers, he took a clothespin. The nail sat firm, the hammer hit safe. No trembling or cursing, everything in calm routine. Especially with small nails or tight corners, it was gold worth. The clip held still until the iron stuck in the wood. Then a short pull, done. So simple, so effective. A hand movement from the old toolbox that works to this day, quite without electronics. Freezer bag as funnel replacement. When the funnel was missing, Grandma knew how to help herself. A freezer bag, cut at the bottom with scissors, became the perfect replacement. Rice, flour, or soup could be poured effortlessly. The opening adjusted to every bottle, all without spilling. A light pressure, a calm flow. So simple, so practical. Nothing was wasted, everything had its second purpose. And quite incidentally, reminded this small hack that some things, what enliven us, can also help externally. Rubber band on lid for better opening. When a screw jar showed stubborn, Grandma didn't reach for the tool. A wide rubber band sufficed. Tightly laid around the lid, it transformed smooth surfaces into grippy helpers. The hold was there, the turn succeeded. All without strength training. Especially with pickle jars or jam, it was gold worth. So lay always a rubber ring in the kitchen drawer ready for use. A simple hack, often smiled at, but effective as ever. And with a hand from the everyday. Wax remnants as DIY fire starters. Back then, nothing was thrown away, also no candle remnants. Grandma collected them in a tin can, melted them in the water bath, and poured the liquid wax over cotton pads or egg carton. So arose starters that burned better than some product from the store. Ideal for the oven or grill. The scent of old Advent candles often mixed with the smoke, a touch of memory of long winter evenings. From little arose something practical, a quiet hack that gave warmth before the fire even burned. Pencil for lubricating lock. When back then the door lock jammed, no spray came into use. A pencil sufficed. Grandma took the key, painted it strongly with the lead, and turned it then in the lock. The graphite laid like a wafer-thin film in the mechanics. Suddenly, everything ran round again. No drop of oil, no smear film. Only an old pencil from the kitchen drawer and a bit of patience. Such hacks were quiet, effective, and have almost not been forgotten. Because they simply work. Screws in soap before drilling. In DIY, Grandpa never just reached for the screwdriver without getting the soap out first. Once briefly, the screw thread pressed into the soap piece, and already it slipped cleanly into the wood. Less force, no splintering, no squeaking friction. Especially with old furniture, it was gold worth. A hack, so simple as effective. Today almost forgotten, back then self-evident. Whoever tries it notices immediately. That comes not from the hardware store but from the experience, passed down from generation to generation. Hang keys with magnet in the drawer. In some kitchens, the key never lay open around. It hung hidden under the drawer, on a small magnet, unobtrusive, quiet, within reach. One simply knew where it is. The hack came from the workshop, migrated into the household, and worked everywhere. Whether apartment key, spare for the mailbox, or the small cellar key, they held quiet and safe. A strong magnet, a hand movement, and already there was order. Such solutions one doesn't think up. They arise in everyday life, and they stay. Kitchen paper around banana keeps fresh longer. Bananas didn't lie just so in the fruit bowl back then. Whoever wanted to keep them fresh longer wrapped a piece of kitchen paper around the stems. That looked unassuming, but had effect. Because the paper slowed the ripening gas, that otherwise let the fruits brown much faster. So they remained yellow, firm, and appetizing, often a whole week longer. A hack from the time when one knew such small, quiet helpers from everyday life. Jam jar as DIY sewing kit. An old jam jar wasn't simply disposed of back then. It got a new life as a sewing kit. In it lay buttons, yarn remnants, safety pins, all neatly sorted. The lid was turned into a needle cushion with fabric and some cotton. Practical, see-through, immediately ready for use. A small, everyday helper that was missing in no household. Simple, clever, proven since generations. Then there's only one thing left. Try one of these old hacks yourself and marvel at how well it still works today. If you want more of them, subscribe to the channel and leave a heart, so you don't miss any hand movement from Grandma's treasure chest. Until next time, stay curious and practical.